I bought a mythical starship they said was scrap, and it changed everything. Captain Jax Corvin stood on the crowded platform of the Galactic auction hub, his boots tapping on the metal floor. Ships of every shape and size floated in the air around him, illuminated by neon lights that reflected in his sharp eyes. Most of the bidders were aliens, sleek, glowing, or multi-limbed, all scanning for ships worth millions. They whispered in tones that sounded like music or static. Jax didn't care. He had only one goal: find something no one else wanted. Something they would call junk. "Next lot," a booming voice announced through the hub. The crowd hushed. A massive container floated into view, its hull dented, scratched, and covered in alien markings. It was old, so old that even the auction's holographic record described it as ancient prototype scrap. The aliens around him laughed. One tall, four-eyed creature with silver skin shook its head. "Why even waste time on that?" it hissed. "It will never fly again." But Jax felt a spark. Humans had a saying: "One man's trash is another man's treasure." He stepped closer, ignoring the whispers and the stares. The auction began, and the lot number flashed above the ship in bold letters. The first bid was made, a high number, but no one expected this ship to go for much. Alien bidders hesitated, unsure why anyone would risk money on a heap of metal. Jax raised his hand. 6 credits. The room froze. A murmur spread. 6 credits was nothing for an alien fleet commander, barely the cost of a snack for some of these wealthy species, but it was everything Jax could spare. Another bidder, a blue-scaled alien with claws like daggers, snorted. Pathetic. Even a child could buy this and lose it. Jax smirked. "Maybe I'm not a child." Sold. 6 credits to Jax Corvin of Earth Sector 7. Humans were bold, unpredictable, and sometimes completely crazy. But that was exactly what made them dangerous. Hours later, Jax arrived at the dock where the ship waited. Its hull was battered. Sections were patched with strange materials that didn't match. Lights flickered weakly along the edges. It smelled of burnt circuits and old fuel. Jax didn't care. He stepped inside. The air inside was stale, heavy with dust and silence. Panels lined the walls, their symbols glowing faintly, unreadable. Nothing moved. Nothing responded. A low hum echoed. The ship seemed to breathe, almost like it was waking. A single screen blinked, displaying alien glyphs that twisted and shifted. They weren't words Jax had ever seen. Somehow, they seemed alive. He touched the glyphs with his hand, and for a moment he felt a strange connection. The ship shivered beneath his fingers, as if acknowledging him. "Interesting," Jax muttered. He had no idea what he had just done, but his gut told him it was something big. He spent the next hours exploring. The bridge was enormous, with multiple command chairs and consoles, all strangely familiar, yet alien. A star map stretched across the ceiling, stars pulsing like tiny hearts. Jax traced his fingers over it, imagining where this ship could take him. Finally, he entered the engineering bay. It was a chaotic mess, wires hanging like vines, panels missing, and an engine core that looked like it hadn't run in centuries. But even in its ruined state, it glimmered with potential. Jax knelt beside the engine and examined it. He could feel the power inside, dormant but immense. He smiled. "This isn't junk," he said. "This is a weapon. A legend. And no one knows it yet." Later, Jax returned to the bridge and activated the ship's navigation system. To his surprise, the screens lit up as if recognizing him. Symbols shifted again, forming patterns he could almost understand. A holographic interface appeared, projecting a faint blue figure. "What are you?" Jax asked. No voice came, only a flicker of lights. Then, words appeared in English. Not perfect, but understandable. Pilot detected. Authorization unknown. Engagement recommended. Jax blinked. The ship was speaking. Or, at least communicating. "Engagement," he said slowly. "You mean fly?" The response was almost immediate. Integration possible. Pilot compatible. Jax laughed, a low, rough sound. Compatible, huh? Guess you picked the right human then. For the first time, he felt something more than excitement. He felt respect. Not the respect of aliens who judged him for his size or species, but respect for something older, smarter, and more powerful than anything in the galaxy. That night, Jax slept on the floor of the ship. Outside, the auction hub lights blinked and hummed. Inside, the ship pulsed faintly, almost like a heartbeat. He dreamed of stars, of distant worlds, and of a human hand steering a vessel no one else dared touch. The next morning, he began repairs. The engine core needed recalibration, panels needed rewiring, and the hull required patches that would hold up in space. Jax worked tirelessly, using scrap parts, his own engineering tools, and a lot of trial and error. Every so often, the ship would respond, lights brightening when he completed a connection, the hum growing stronger when he fixed a panel. He realized it wasn't just a ship. It was a living machine, waiting for a pilot who could match its spirit. By the end of the week, Jax had restored enough systems to test a short flight. The aliens outside the hub had laughed when they saw him working on the ship. They thought he would fail. They thought he had wasted his 6 credits. Jax didn't care. He strapped into the pilot's chair, gripped the controls, and took a deep breath. "Let's see what you can do," he said to the ship. The engines roared. Not the weak sputter he had expected, but a deep, resonant growl. The ship lifted off the dock, shaking slightly, then steadied. It moved with grace and power, unlike any vessel Jax had ever seen. Outside, alien ships hovered, their pilots gaping in disbelief. This human, small, scrappy, and underestimated, was flying a vessel they had all dismissed as junk. Jax laughed, the sound echoing in the cockpit. "They'll see soon enough," he said. As the ship soared into the atmosphere, he realized something profound. This wasn't just about a ship. This was about humans daring to do what no one else would. About boldness, courage, and instinct. About showing the galaxy that humans could reach beyond what was considered possible. And for the first time, the stars seemed to call to him, promising adventures and discoveries beyond imagination. Jax Corvin had bought a mythical starship for 6 credits, and he had no idea how much it would change everything. But one thing was certain. The galaxy would never look at humans the same way again. The stars stretched endlessly before Captain Jax Corvin as the ship he had dubbed Aegis glided through space. Its massive frame, once dismissed as scrap, now hummed with life. Panels flickered, and the strange alien glyphs danced across the console. It was no longer just a ship. It was an ally, a challenge, and a mystery, all at once. Jax leaned back in the pilot's chair, letting his fingers trace the controls. Every motion was instinctive, like the ship recognized him before he even acted. The first test flight had been rough. The engines had groaned and pulsed unpredictably, almost as if the ship were testing him. But now, it moved with smooth precision, responding instantly to even the slightest touch. A soft voice, or something like a voice, echoed in his mind. "Pilot, you are compatible." No sound came through the speakers. This wasn't audio, it was a thought, clear and direct. "Compatible with what?" he asked aloud, though he knew the ship was listening. "Integration, complete potential, can awaken systems." Jax's grin widened. He had heard rumors of mythical ships, ancient vessels said to possess intelligence and power beyond any known technology. Legends told of ships that could cloak themselves, manipulate energy, and even predict enemy movements. None of these ships had ever been recovered, and most of the galaxy considered them fairy tales. He glanced at Aegis's hull. "So, you're the real deal." The ship's hull vibrated gently in response, as if nodding. Over the next few days, Jax explored every corner of Aegis. He discovered rooms that seemed to shift depending on need. An engineering bay that could expand into a full lab, a storage room that compressed itself, and a bridge that adapted to its pilot. Every console he touched reacted, glyphs glowing brighter, rearranging themselves into patterns he could understand. One night, as he pored over the ship's star map, he noticed something remarkable. The map displayed hidden star lanes and wormholes, shortcuts the galaxy had long forgotten. These were paths no current starship could navigate without sophisticated sensors and years of trial. but Aegis seemed to know them by instinct. Excited, Jax activated the navigation interface. The star lanes shimmered in blue light. "Where do you want to go?" a thought echoed in his mind. "Anywhere," Jax said. "Somewhere. No one will find me first." The ship hummed and shifted, setting a course for a nearby star system that, according to galactic charts, shouldn't even exist. As they left the auction hub sector, Jax noticed a blip on the radar. Several alien patrol ships were moving fast, scanning for unusual activity. He frowned. News of the auction and his purchase traveled faster than he expected. "They think you're scrap," he muttered to Aegis. "Let's show them why they're wrong." Aegis's engines roared as they jumped into sublight speed, weaving through asteroid fields with unmatched precision. The alien patrols tried to intercept, but Aegis anticipated their moves. Shields flared as energy pulses deflected plasma blasts. Every attack seemed preempted, as though the ship knew what was coming. Jax laughed, the thrill of control and freedom pumping through his veins. Humans had a saying, "Fortune favors the bold." He could feel it now. Every human instinct, courage, creativity, unpredictability, was amplified through Aegis. No alien pilot could match this combination of raw daring and advanced technology. The patrols eventually gave up, reporting back that the scrap ship had vanished into uncharted space. Jax grinned. They still underestimated humans. Days turned into weeks. Jax learned more about Aegis than he could have imagined. Its AI, or consciousness, responded to his moods, adapting systems for efficiency or defense. Energy weapons charged faster when danger approached. Cloaking systems engaged automatically when stealth was needed, and defensive drones deployed with precision. But the most extraordinary discovery came when Jax entered the archives room. Holographic screens flickered to life, showing star maps, battle records, and something else. "Wait, what is this?" Jax muttered. The screens displayed symbols, resembling human writing, but far older, more complex. DNA strands, star routes, and engineering schematics intertwined in ways he could barely comprehend. "You are human," the ship thought. Jax blinked. "Yes, I am. Compatible because of heritage. Humans once ruled these stars." The words stunned him. Humans? Ruled the galaxy? This was considered impossible. The aliens who dominated space believed humans were a minor, fragile species, lucky to survive on one rock called Earth. Jax felt a thrill mixed with disbelief. Could this be true? Had humans once built civilizations advanced enough to create ships like Aegis? And if so, why had it all disappeared? Before he could ponder more, Aegis alerted him to incoming signals. Another alien fleet had tracked him into uncharted space. They demanded surrender, claiming the ship as theirs. Jax didn't flinch. He had learned to trust Aegis. "All right," he said, gripping the controls. "Let's dance." Plasma beams streaked across space. Jax weaved Aegis through asteroid belts, dodging with a mix of instinct and skill. But then, a massive energy pulse from one of the alien ships slammed into the hull. Sparks flew, panels ripped open, and alarms blared. Aegis responded immediately. Shields shimmered, and the engine surged, adapting to the attack. Defensive drones deployed, intercepting incoming fire. And then, the ship did something Jax had never seen. It split its energy output. Portions of the hull hardened, beams deflected, and countermeasures deployed automatically. The aliens froze, confused. None of their calculations predicted this level of adaptability. "Humans," Jax muttered, smiling. "We're full of surprises." With a bold maneuver, he piloted Aegis through a narrow asteroid pass. Alien ships, unwilling to risk collision, broke off the pursuit. Jax exhaled, heart racing. As the adrenaline faded, he realized something profound. Humans weren't the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced species in the galaxy, but they had something no one else did: imagination, courage, and the ability to defy expectation. And when paired with a ship like Aegis, that combination was unstoppable. The ship pulsed gently, almost approvingly. "Potential realized." Jax laughed again. leaning back in the pilot's chair. He had bought a mythical ship for almost nothing, and it was already proving to be worth 1,000 times more. Over the following days, he experimented further. He learned to communicate with the ship mentally, directing drones, managing energy flows, and even cloaking for long periods. He plotted courses through systems that humans weren't supposed to know existed. Every success made him bolder. Every failure taught him faster. And all the while, the ship seemed to be awakening itself through him, growing smarter, faster, and more aware. One evening, while examining a remote star system, Jax noticed something unusual on the ship's interface, a signal emanating from an uncharted planet. It was faint, but unmistakable. He recognized it from the holographic archives, a human symbol, long forgotten. Could it be a relic? He whispered. Aegis pulsed, brighter than ever. Ancient, human, important. Must investigate. Humans were thought extinct in that part of the galaxy, but here was proof that their legacy still survived, hidden in the stars. He set a course. Every instinct told him danger awaited. But curiosity, human curiosity. As Aegis leapt into hyperspace, Jax felt a thrill he had never known. This wasn't just about survival, or money, or adventure. This was about discovery, about reclaiming what humans had lost. About showing the galaxy that humans were more than what they believed. And deep down, he knew that nothing would ever be the same once the secrets of this mythical ship were revealed. The galaxy was about to meet humans in a way it never had before. The signal from the uncharted planet grew stronger as Aegis moved closer. Captain Jax Corvin stood on the bridge, staring at the holographic display. The planet below was dark blue, covered in thick clouds and violent storms. Lightning flashed across its surface like veins of white fire. Jax leaned forward instead. "Take us in," he said calmly. Atmospheric instability detected. High risk. Jax smiled slightly. "Yeah, that's where the fun is." The ship entered the planet's atmosphere. Storm winds slammed against the hull. Lightning struck the shields again and again. The cockpit shook violently. But Aegis adapted. Energy shifted across the hull. The shields reshaped themselves, bending around the lightning instead of resisting it. The ship adjusted its descent angle without Jax even asking. Below the storm clouds, something appeared. A structure. Massive, metallic, ancient. Jax's heart pounded. "It's human," he whispered. The design was unmistakable. The curves, the symmetry, the layered structure style used in old Earth orbital stations. This was not alien. This was theirs. Before Jax could land, alarms screamed across the bridge. Multiple warp signatures appeared in orbit. Then 10, then 20. Then more. Not just pirates. Warships. The most powerful alien alliance in known space. They had come. A voice transmitted through open channels. Human vessel identified as illegal possession of classified technology. Power down immediately. You are surrounded. Jax exhaled slowly. "They're scared," he said. Aegis pulsed softly. Affirmative. Fear probability high. The fleet formed a blockade around the planet. Massive cruisers, charged weapons. Fighter wings deployed. One small human ship against an entire Alliance navy. Jax should have felt fear. Instead, he felt something else. Defiance. "They thought I bought scrap," he said quietly. "Now they think I stole a weapon." He sat down in the pilot's chair. "Let's show them what humans really do." The first volley came without warning. Plasma beams ripped through the sky. Jax pulled hard on the controls. Aegis twisted sharply, diving back into the storm clouds. Explosions lit up the atmosphere. The alien fleet hesitated. Their large ships were not built for violent weather combat. Aegis was. The ship flowed through the storm like it belonged there. Lightning struck again, but this time Aegis absorbed the energy. The bridge glowed brighter. Energy reserves increasing, Aegis reported. Jax grinned. "You're learning." Fighter ships chased him into the storm. Big mistake. Jax flew low between mountain peaks. He skimmed across oceans. He dove through narrow canyons. Alien fighters struggled to keep up. They relied on formation flying, on perfect calculations, on predictable combat models. Jax did not. He shut off stabilizers. He let the ship roll freely. He used gravity slingshots and sharp reversals that no simulation would recommend. Two fighters crashed into each other trying to follow him. Another slammed into a cliff face. The storm became his ally, and Aegis adapted to every move. Above the clouds, the larger warships began orbital bombardment. They targeted the ancient structure on the surface. They wanted it destroyed. Jax saw the energy beams charging. His expression hardened. "No," he said. Aegis responded instantly. The ship shot upward through the storm at full thrust. Energy rippled across its hull. For the first time, hidden panels opened along its sides. Weapons extended. Not crude cannons. Not simple plasma turrets. Something far more advanced. Energy lances formed, pure white and silent. The fleet fired. Aegis moved. Not away. Forward, Jax pushed the engines beyond safe limits. Warning lights flashed red. Any sane pilot would retreat. Jax accelerated. Aegis split its shields into focused layers. The first bombardment beam struck. The ship trembled, but held. Energy redirected. Converted. Then Aegis fired. A single white lance pierced through space. It sliced clean through a cruiser's weapon array. The massive alien ship went dark. Silence spread across fleet communications. They had never seen technology like this. Another warship launched missiles. Jax spun Aegis sideways and dove between them. He triggered something new. The star map above the bridge shifted. Coordinates flashed. Short-range micro-jump ready, Aegis signaled. Jax didn't hesitate. Do it. Space twisted. For a split second, Aegis vanished. It reappeared directly behind the largest warship in the fleet. Gasps echoed over open channels. Jax fired again. This time he targeted engines. The warship drifted powerless. The alien commanders panicked. Their calculations were failing, their formations collapsing, because they were fighting something they could not predict. A human, with imagination, with boldness no algorithm could model. The fleet regrouped. They shifted strategy. Instead of attacking Aegis directly, they targeted civilian trade routes nearby. A cruel move. Surrender, or others suffer. Jax's jaw tightened. He had seen this before. Bullying through power. Aegis pulsed darker. Emotional state detected. Anger. You're right. He opened long-range comms. This is Captain Jax Corvin of Earth, he broadcast. You call me criminal? You call this ship illegal? But you're afraid. No one responded. You're afraid that humans are not what you thought. Silence. Then one of the alien admirals answered. You are one pilot with stolen technology. You cannot stand against the Concord. Watch me. Instead of attacking the fleet again, Jax did something unexpected. He dove back toward the ancient structure. The fleet followed cautiously. Aegis landed near the buried human installation. As the first alien ships prepared to fire, something happened. The structure began to glow. It responded to Aegis. To Jax, massive power signatures surged from beneath the planet's crust. Ancient defense platforms rose from underground. Human-made, hidden for centuries. Automated, and now activated. The alien fleet scattered in shock. Defense satellites locked onto hostile targets. Energy barriers expanded across the planet. Jax stared at the display in awe. We built this, he whispered. Aegis confirmed. Human precursor civilization. Advanced, strategic, hidden. The sky above erupted into controlled chaos. Defense beams fired with precision, not to destroy, but to disable. Human systems did not waste energy. They ended threats efficiently. Within minutes, half the conquered fleet was powerless. The remaining ships retreated beyond orbital range. Stunned. confused, humbled. Silence returned to space. Jax stood alone on the bridge. The ancient human installation hummed below. The alien fleet lingered at a distance, no longer attacking. They had seen enough. They had learned something important. Humans were not weak, not primitive, not lucky survivors. They were heirs to something powerful, and they were waking up. Aegis pulsed gently. You have altered galactic balance. Jax looked out at the stars. I just bought a ship, he said softly, but he knew it was more than that. The galaxy now knew the truth. Humanity had once reached the stars in ways no one remembered, and now one stubborn human pilot had proven it. The conquered would not forget today. They would fear humanity. They would respect it, or they would challenge it again. Either way, the galaxy had changed, and this time humans were ready. The stars stretched endlessly before Captain Jax Corvin as he hovered above the ancient human installation. Lightning flashed across the planet's stormy skies, illuminating the colossal structure buried beneath the clouds. It was alive, pulsing with energy, reacting to him and to Aegis. The Concord fleet had retreated, but only for now. He knew the galaxy would come back. Stronger fleets, smarter tactics. Entire alliances might converge, but he was ready. Humans had a habit of rising against impossible odds. And now, with Aegis and the hidden human technologies at his side, he was no longer just a pilot. He was a force the galaxy had never seen. Inside the ship, the semi-sentient AI pulsed in response to Jax's thoughts. Threat levels rising, it said. Allies absent. Human potential untested. Sounds like it's our kind of challenge. He activated the ship's advanced systems. Panels rearranged themselves as Aegis came fully online. Energy conduits glowed across the hull, defensive drones hummed, and weapon systems aligned in perfect synchronization. Every mechanism within the ship responded instinctively, as if it had been waiting for this moment for centuries. Jax took a deep breath and sent a mental command. Aegis responded immediately. Integration complete, it said. We are ready. Back in orbit, the alien Concorde had called reinforcements. Hundreds of warships, carrying weapons capable of leveling planets, moved through hyperspace. Their intelligence reports called Aegis a scrap vessel, an error they would soon regret. Within hours, the fleet arrived. Massive cruisers shadowed the planet, energy weapons already charged. Their battle strategies were precise, predictable, and brutal. But humans didn't fight like that. Humans fought with ingenuity, courage, and the willingness to take risks no algorithm could calculate. Jax leaned in his pilot's chair. Time to wake the legends. Aegis shifted course, diving directly into the stormy planet's atmosphere. The fleet opened fire immediately, unleashing torrents of plasma and missile volleys. But the storm itself became an ally. Winds tossed the Concorde warships, lightning strikes interfered with targeting systems, and volcanic ash from the planet's surface created dense interference fields. Aegis twisted and turned, following human instinct over reason. Every maneuver was unpredictable. Every dodge forced the aliens to adapt. And every adaptation they tried was countered by Aegis's semi-sentient systems. Jax smiled as he watched two cruiser squadrons collide with each other, trying to match his path through a mountain canyon. Humans don't follow the rules, he muttered. On the planet below, the ancient human installation activated fully. Massive towers extended from the ground, hidden energy fields ignited, and drones of ancient design took to the skies. They were not mere weapons. They were guardians, programmed to defend and strategize. Aegis interfaced with the system seamlessly. Jax could see the synchronization in the holographic interface, ship and planet acting as one entity. Energy beams arced across the battlefield, not recklessly, but precisely, disabling alien weapon systems while leaving their crews alive. Aegis and the installation combined brute force with strategy. Every move was calculated, but in a way the aliens could not predict. The Concorde fleet faltered. Their numbers meant nothing when faced with technology they couldn't understand, and a pilot who refused to obey the rules of conventional combat. Hours passed. Explosions lit the skies. Alien ships fell one by one. Some tried to retreat, others surrendered. Reports of the battle spread instantly across the galactic communications network. Aliens were shocked. One human, in a vessel they called Scrap, had single-handedly repelled an entire fleet and activated a hidden human arsenal. In the bridge of Aegis, Jax leaned back, exhausted but exhilarated. He stared at the holographic display, seeing the remaining ships retreat. "Not bad for 6 credits," he said, almost to himself. The ship pulsed in response. Potential fully realized. Human integration complete. Jax grinned. "Looks like we're just getting started." The battle won. He returned to the surface of the planet. The installation's doors opened fully, revealing chambers filled with advanced human technology. Star maps, energy cores, and holographic records of ancient civilizations. Jax walked through the halls, awestruck. Humans had once explored galaxies far beyond what current maps could show. They had built weapons, energy systems, and ships that could outmatch entire alien fleets. And somehow, all of this had been hidden, waiting for a pilot brave enough to find it. He placed his hand on a console, feeling the energy thrumming beneath his fingers. The systems responded. Holographic symbols shifted, displaying coordinates for uncharted sectors, hidden wormholes, and ancient colonies. "Incredible," he whispered. "It is your heritage," Aegis responded. "You are human. You are legacy." Not arrogance, not greed, pride. For humans, for their courage, for their ability to survive and rise when no one believed in them. News of the battle spread like wildfire. Aliens who had once dismissed humans as weak, fragile creatures now spoke in hushed tones. The word spread. One human pilot with a mythical starship defeated a fleet. Galactic powers began to rethink their assumptions. Humans were no longer just survivors. They were innovators, warriors, and strategists. They were unpredictable, bold, and powerful in ways no one had imagined. And somewhere deep in the galaxy, others like Jax would hear the story and be inspired. But Jax was not content with just proving humans could fight. He wanted more. He activated Aegis's advanced star charts. Ancient human colonies were hidden in uncharted space. Lost technologies awaited recovery. Secrets of the galaxy, forgotten for millennia, called to him. "We have work to do," he said. Aegis hummed in agreement. "Humans are explorers. Humans are leaders. You are the first to awaken our full potential." Jax smiled. He could almost feel the eyes of the galaxy on him, not in fear, not in hatred, but in awe. For the first time, he realized the truth. The galaxy was no longer the same. Humanity was awakening. The Concord fleet retreated, but they would return. They would send spies, scientists, and warriors. They would try to take the ship, the planet, and the technology. Jax didn't worry. Humans thrived on challenges. And now, with Aegis and the legacy of their ancestors at his side, he had the means to face anything. He stepped onto the observation deck. The planet below was alive with energy, the storm clearing. Lightning struck once more, illuminating the massive structure. The stars beyond glittered like a promise. Jax took a deep breath. "The galaxy will remember humans now," he said. Aegis pulsed in acknowledgement. "They will remember fear, respect, and awe." Humans are no longer to be underestimated. Contact could. Let them watch. Let them learn. He turned back to the controls. Aegis was ready. The planet's secrets were ready. And humanity's legacy, long buried and forgotten, was finally waking. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy would see humans not as survivors, but as legends. And Captain Jax Corvin, pilot of a ship they once called Scrap, would be at the center of it all. The adventure was just beginning.